Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call to order the May 7th, 2013 Community Redevelopment Agency COW meeting to order. We are here at William F. Dickinson, 1601 North Combe Avenue, Homestead, Florida. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Faircloth McCormick.
Here.
Councilman Maldonado.
Here.
Councilman Shelley.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Here.
Mayor Bateman.
Here. Okay, first item on the agenda is deletions and or deferrals. Do we have any? Okay, moving on. Approval of minutes, March 12th, 2013, CRA Board Meeting, and April 17th, 2013 CRA Board Meeting Workshop Minutes.
Move them. Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Item carries. New business. Car number 793, CRA Commercial Enhancement.
Wait, see, we're in the cow.
Cow. Wrong one.
No, he didn't, because I don't have my...
You can just use the same one.
Y'all just approved minutes as a council for CRA. Y'all not the same board members.
We have the right one.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
That's why I didn't vote.
Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. You see, I read well. It was in front of me. Okay, we're here at the Committee Whole Meeting, Finance, Enterprise, Park and Recreation, Public Safety, Utilities Committee meeting. Again, here at 1601 North Combe Avenue, Homestead, Florida, Bill Dickinson Community Center. Call to order the meeting. It is now 7:05. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Here.
Councilman Maldonado.
Here.
Councilman Shelley.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Still here.
Mayor Bateman.
Present. Okay, again, we've approved the additions, deletions, deferrals. Request for car number 804, waiver of use fees.
Move it.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Discussions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Item carries. Item B is car number 821, waiver of use fees. Again, staff report.
Second.
Thank you.
Mayor, the Everglades Preparatory Academy is requesting the mayor and council authorize city manager to approve waiver of usage fees in the amount of $500 for the use of William F. Bill Dickinson Community Center on May 23rd, 2013 to host a band concert, chorus, all-star concert. According to the city's code, chapter 20, section 20-11, fees and charges, city council sets fees and has the right to waive parks and recreation fees by a majority vote.
Okay, it's end of the school year. Can we, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I cut you out on the first one. Can you give us the description from staff on the 804 waiver of use fees?
Sure, Mayor. This is the Miss Florida Scholarship Pageant is a not-for-profit organization. They're requesting the mayor and council authorize city manager to approve waiver of usage fees in the amount of $340 for the use of Harris Field Pavilion on June 8th, 2013 to host a junior pageant.
We already voted on it. Thank you. All right, tab 3. Can we hold motion? Entertain a motion for approval.
Move it.
Move it.
Okay. Second. With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Item carries. Okay, motion to place car number 823 on council agenda.
Move it.
Discussion of Homestead Educational.
Second.
Okay. Staff report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, this was a financing vehicle that was used to finance certain district improvements. Everything's been done that needed to be done by this district. There's no outstanding liabilities or fees, and so the district has requested that we dissolve it.
Okay. Okay.
Mayor, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tim Craig, who sits on the board, called me today and asked for our consideration when of dissolution of this, and if it did not get dissolved tonight, that we at least leave it there so that we could have a discussion next week, because he wasn't able to make it tonight. He had to take his wife to several doctor's appointments this afternoon, and he wouldn't be able to make it, so.
It'll appear on the regular council agenda, so he'll have an opportunity to, this is just moving it along tonight.
Right, but if we vote it down tonight,
Oh, okay.
perhaps. That's all.
Okay, you're welcome. Questions or comments? Further? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Okay, item carries. Next item, Finance Committee, tab 5, motion to place CAR 822 on council agenda.
Move it.
Internal audit.
Second.
Staff?
Mayor, the McGladrey, the city's internal auditors request the mayor and council accept the internal audit plan for fiscal years 2013-14, 14-15, and 15-16. They are here to make a presentation on their three-year plan.
Okay, come forward. Just state your name and address, just for the record, please.
Sure. Kathy Thomas Beck. I'm with McGladrey, 2197 Rockledge Drive, Rockledge, Florida.
Rockledge.
Rockledge.
Okay, floor is yours.
Thank you. As you all remember, we were hired in September to start the internal audit function for the City of Homestead. So we've completed our first phase of that project. So we just want to give you a status update tonight and let you know what our progress to date has been. I also have with me tonight Clara Ewing, who served as the internal audit manager on site at the City of Homestead. I'm going to walk you through a brief presentation. Can you all see that? I can't, but I'm glad you guys can. Okay, so you have a report that's a detailed report, but I thought this would be an easier way just to facilitate a brief discussion. Just to define and make sure everyone understands what is the purpose of internal auditing and what is the function of it. Internal auditing serves as an effective approach for the city to evaluate and improve the effectiveness of its risk management process, control, and governance processes. So it's a really critical part of controlling the internal control and governance within the city. The objectives of this first year were for us, as establishing the internal audit function, to gain an understanding of the city structure and processes and an overview of the general tone at the top at the city. We were also asked to educate city department directors and process owners about effective internal controls and how they operate within an internal control environment. We also identified desired internal controls that should be in place and provided training to management as we went through this process. The first phase, phase 1, we adopted the COSO model, which is a recognized internal control model that helps evaluate effectiveness of operations, financial reporting, and compliance with laws and regulations.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, your report is different from what we have.
Yes, the PowerPoint deck is just a summary
Well, that's what I like
of
to
what's
see.
in the report.
Okay, but if you have another copy of that, I'd like to try to keep up with what you're saying. I've got that, but if you have another copy, that'd be, for me, I'm saying, I don't know about mine.
We did not bring hard copies of the report, but we can provide them to you.
That's fine.
Okay. Sorry, it's a little difficult to read it and follow through with it.
No, I can understand it. I've already comprehended, but what you're reading and what we have here is different, that's all.
Right, okay. So this is a very high-level summary, just so we can walk you through the process. As our first phase of our project, we trained city department and held a leadership meeting with the leadership team and educated them on effective internal controls and what the internal audit function would look like. As part of that, we identified what their roles would be in ensuring an effective internal control environment and the importance of their support as we visited each of the departments. In phase 2 of our approach, we met with each of the departments and processes that we identified, met with key process owners, and identified a good understanding of key functions within their departments and how they operated. Part of that process was to identify what controls they had in place and what controls that we would put in place to ensure effective internal control environment. Phase 3 of our approach was to facilitate training and provide internal controls back to those individual departments and process owners. So as part of that, each department will receive a detailed listing of key internal controls that they will be expected to follow that will help ensure compliance with city policies as well as laws and regulations. So we evaluated each one of the processes and trained and provided them with this set of control environment. As part of that process, we then identified what our actual 3-year internal audit plan would be, so that the individuals responsible for the departments and the directors understand that they are to comply with the controls that we laid out for them, and that we will come back and audit them on a 3-year internal audit plan. So we provided within the detailed document you have, and you just see a summary of it up there, of what our suggested 3-year audit plan would look like. The first year would be fiscal year 2013 to 2014, and we're recommending the 3 audits take place. One is around payroll timekeeping, the second is human resources, and the third is the billing permit department. So that is the first year of recommended audits. The second year is information technologies, facilities and construction contract compliance, and grant management. The third year is accounts payable, purchasing, and parks and rec. What you should know is in the second 2 years, those will be live plans. So we will do a risk assessment each year to evaluate if the next year is a correct audit plan and how the resources should be directed. So we put it out there as a 3-year plan so you can kind of see how it will evolve, but these 2 second years will be flexible in terms of what is happening and where the environment and where we need to spend our time. Finally, this is just an overview of what our methodology looks like as we begin to execute internal audits. You know, we've been through this phase of developing the audit plan, the planning and scoping, but as we start to execute the audits, we will reassess the design effectiveness of their internal control within the process. You can use the example of human resources or payroll. We will then redocument any changes to the existing control environment, and we will assess operating effectiveness by testing the actual operation of those controls and are they complying with those controls. During that process, we will report to management as well as report to you after the end of each audit. That completes my overview of what we've completed to date, and I'll open it up if anyone has questions.
Okay, anyone from the council?
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
Now,
Williams.
I know based on our city charter, we have direct oversight over the manager, the attorneys, and the city clerk, and also the internal auditor. Is that not right? My question would be then, would not your reports directly come to the council rather than to the manager's office?
Our reports would be ultimately issued to the City Council, which in this case, this report was issued directly to City Council. City management is integral in the internal control and operating of the internal control environment, so they need to be actively involved in terms of responding to any issues,
Right.
making sure controls are in place, that type of thing.
Right.
So certainly we are educating, training, and working with them closely.
Right, and I notice here that you're doing all of the departments per se. Is there any? And you said this is a 3-year process for these departments, and each year what you highlighted in green and checked will be what will be done for that particular year, and then you move on subsequently. do you go back, when do you go back to the first part of it? Will it be another 3 years after that? How would you then monitor after the 3 years is up?
Okay, very good question. As we complete an audit, let's use the example again of the payroll audit. We will ask that department and city management, any observations that we have, they will need to respond to those, and they will give a date of corrective action. Those items will be followed up as the corrective action was scheduled to take place by that department. So their follow-up process on all observations will happen as they've reported to you that they will complete them. The ultimate re-audit would not happen again until 3 years out and as we start to rotate the plan through. But the follow-up on observations will happen throughout the process.
Okay, all right, because my question was, your 3-year process, the body changes within that 3 year, the legislative body, we as elected officials. And so just trying to understand the continuity of that process and how does the elected body continue to, be engaged, if it's changing, every 2 to 4 years out. So, that's my only concern about the plan itself, and how have you all looked at that, or did you all factor in that response on how you all would deal with that?
Yes, absolutely. So as we start each year, we do a reevaluation. Is the plan correct, right? We laid it out. Is it correct? We reevaluate what's changed, what's even changed within departments. Maybe we had a change in a department head. Maybe we want to re-change what we're going to audit. So as part of that, we re-educate, redirect, and make sure the audit plan is approved and is accurate. And we also then keep a rolling of what we've audited. So as city council members may change, which does happen, we re-educate and make sure that the plan is rolling forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Further questions? Jimmy, Mr. Williams, he said you nailed it for him. Well, thank you very much, sir.
I love my colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you.
Okay, our last 30 minutes of our COW tonight was to be spent on code compliance priorities. What's the pleasure of the council? How do you want to start? And it's open discussion.
I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I think, who asked for this? I think we all did at some point. So what are they going to present to us? What's the first item? First.
Refresh your memory.
I think when we were sitting here discussing things, the idea was to try to come up, everybody was come up with 2 or 3 items that is their priority. And then we were going to try to give code enforcement a couple of those to work on, quarterly, bi-monthly, however long they think it would take them to handle what our concerns are. That way we're not giving them 20, 30 different ideas, overburdening them with different things, and they're stretched out trying to do this, do that, do this, instead of focusing on a couple different things, and then they can, continually follow up on them while they focus on new thoughts and new things that we bring to them, whether it's on, like I said, a bi-monthly or a quarterly or a monthly, whatever the process may be, as they start to work on things and find out how much time they think it takes them to work through what our things are, how many cases are there out there in the city that they need to look at. And I think if we can all as a group get focused and pick a couple things for them to work on, I think it makes it better for us as a whole. It makes it better for them. They know what we want them to focus on, and it makes the community better for everybody because we're cleaning it up. It may not be overnight, but we're slowly working through a process of doing it instead of haphazardly saying, hey, let's, for instance, the drop boxes, let's get the drop boxes out of here. Hey, what about the overgrown lot over there? Let's get them cleaned up. We're giving them a process. Sure, you can go to your meeting. I was just refreshing. No. I was just, trying to get a process for them that helps them, helps us, and helps the whole community as a whole. So that's where I came up with this idea. Thank you, Mayor.
I'd just like to thank you for reminding us what it was all about. I'd like to start off by actually thanking Crystal and Code Compliance because they moved quickly on an issue that residents had come to my office about. And I don't know if the manager has ever seen this one community, but I'm going to take him out on my next drive around, and it's called Kia Drive. Kia Drive, and it looks like it's not even part of Homestead. I am amazed that 20 years later, Mr. Manager, we still have houses with no roof on them, one wall up. Some have 3 walls up, right, Crystal? Some have just a slab there, and overgrown cane grass 20 feet tall. Unbelievable. I just go, wow. If you want to remember Andrew, drive down Kia Drive. It's incredible. Most of them are absentee landlords that just do not do what they're supposed to do. So I'd like to see us give Code Compliance, if they have it, they need to start really using it. And if not, we need to give them, Richard, some teeth to eventually we lean them enough that we own the property, we take down the property, we take care of it, and we sell it off and get it back on the tax rolls. Because 20 years is too long. It's too long. And thank you for what you did. You've got some people in there who want to comply, and this particular older couple have a very cute unit, very nice. I took the time to drive out there and look at their concerns. Some of these people they make their own community garbage pile, and others are spray painting over the no littering signs. The signs are gray in there, with gray spray paint. The holes are incredible as you drive them down. It looks like a bomb hit that place. But if you drive it, you guys, you won't believe it's Homestead, some of you, if you haven't been in there. It's incredible. So thank you what you did do so far, but I think we really need to take the inmate crew in there, and we need to, I know you have already, that we need to give you more help. And we need to go in there and really whip that place into shape. And the places that we're mowing and cutting down, if somebody owns it and they're not common areas, then we need to figure out how to get repaid for it. Simple as that. So I invite you to take a ride out there with me. You'll be amazed. That's my suggestion for you.
Mayor?
Yes.
I also had that, and to add on to that, and they had the same problem down Kia Drive as you see down Tennessee Avenue over there by the basketball courts on the backside of the YMCA. Is these apartment complexes, for whatever reason, take and make these big piles of trash that sit there until it's either the day for pickup or somebody calls Dennis and QRT or somebody responds. I think we need to start holding the landlords of these properties responsible for that, or the building owners, or the association, so that they take responsibility in what they're doing over there. They're allowing their citizens, and like you said, a majority of these people are out-of-town people that collect the checks, pay the taxes or whatever, and could care less of what happens down here as long as that check is coming to them. And I think we need to somehow, like you suggested, step up how we attack these people back for ruining, or not ruining, but trying to leave our city in shambles. And I think at some point we need to really have teeth, and that was one of my other points, is that we need to get this process to really have teeth, where people take notice and will start to do as they're supposed to do, as good as citizens of Homestead.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Shelley.
Mr. Mayor, to stick on the bulk trash concept, I think that, for the Northwest, that's one of the biggest issues we have, is that, one of the good things that we now have weekly bulk trash pickup is that we can hopefully start enforcing more of this, and that is that what happens is they pick it up on one day, and the very next day it's as big or bigger than it was before. And I know this proliferates through the Northwest. I believe it's a problem in the Southwest as well. And so I'd like to see us really start cracking down on the bulk trash. So if it's a weekend before your early week, then that's fine. You can let it sit there. But for the next week and the week after, you need to start warning people or citing people and try to get everyone, up to speed that this is an issue. Because it really kills the cleanliness of the neighborhoods.
That's good. She's smiling.
Poor
Mayor,
Crystal.
Yes, Ms. Wallman.
we have that same problem in the villages with the bulk trash. they're used to a routine, their lawn people are on the same schedule, you know, they're on usually a twice a month schedule, and I don't know how we're going to handle it, because they're on these schedules with their lawn services, and to switch them around, I guess it's very difficult, especially in this time of the season. So, but we're noticing that a lot. And, I mean, that you can pick up, and then the next day if there's a pile out there again. And I said this was going to be an education. I mean, we were going to have, it's a great idea, and people love it, but still we have to communicate, and maybe we could do more on our city website, you know, for education.
Sure.
Communication, but that is a problem.
Sure, Mr. Shaw.
Just to follow up, you know, I guess the other message too is I agree with Councilwoman Waldman. I think education is key here, because I want to make sure, I guess I didn't direct code to go out and start citing people immediately, because I think that will also cause its own problem. And so I agree with Councilwoman Waldman, and I think that maybe what we should try doing, at least for a month period or whatever you find usually works, is a warning system for the bulk trash, because we need to get the message out there. We need to make sure that they know this won't be acceptable. But then after that warning period expires, it's citing. Somehow we have to get this under control, because I think it's critical to making our neighborhoods look nicer.
I just think you go back to the original comment that I made, was if you've got a warning in the file, the next one they get a ticket. Simple as that. Also, too, Chief, this might be a place to use those portable cameras, because this couple that we spoke to that day said that lawn companies come in there early in the morning, 6 o'clock, and there's a big area that you can tell it's dug out. We pick a lot of trash up there, and that they dump their trash and then hightail it out of there. So illegal dumping, it might be a place that we can try to pay for some of the stuff. Cameras, yeah? Okay. Captain Graham?
I can understand, Mayor, Council, the sentiments as far as the bulk trash. It is the same sentiments that we have. It is our second highest occurring violation for last year. 421 violations were issued for improper bulk trash disposal. So it is something that's extremely prevalent in the city. We have one code officer that solid waste pays for that does nothing all day long but garbage and trash violations. The other remaining 5 officers that I do have do also address the bulk trash issue in their respective areas as much as possible, along with the other code violations in their areas. So I do agree that it is one of the violations that is very high up there in the city. It reflects so in our statistics of properties that are cited as well. So,
for the last, I think, 2 months, I started forwarding those statistics to you all, so you all could see it. Because I know before, you know, you all wasn't getting a copy of it, but things I think y'all need to see, you know, I just make sure that you all get it, and let you know exactly what's going on, because, and not to try to downplay it, but, you know, you're talking about 62,000 people, and you got six code officers to deal with this whole city. That's not a lot of people to deal with the kind of clientele we have here in the city of Homestead. That's a lot. So, you know, I think they're doing pretty good based on what we got. And talk about education. Over the years, we've done that over and over and over again. But again, with the clientele we have here and people that come, stay 6 months and leave, it's difficult. I mean, we can educate, which is, we're not going to stop doing that. But it's just kind of difficult when you got a city that's 3 times the size it was back in '92, and you know, we only have 6 code enforcement officers. It's kind of tough to take care of every little thing. But I can assure you that, and I've said it before at the last meeting, if you let us go, we can take care of business in Homestead. Just let us do our job. You know, I'm just saying, you know, people they're gonna come, they're gonna cry. I hear it all the time. But if you want code to go out there and code this city and clean this city up, we can do that. But you know, I just don't. You know, we just don't want any repercussions based on what we're supposed to do, because, you know, right now, and they'll tell you, they're sitting there right now, they're confused. they don't know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, because they don't know what kind of repercussions they're going to get from just doing their job. So I just want to throw it out there, let you know that, from this point on, and also, they do warnings. We make sure they warn people the first time.
That's all I ask. If
But
there's
after that,
a file, you'll never have a complaint from me.
I just want to share that, because I'm just saying, we never do it, because, we see the city as well as you all, and because we're out there every day, and we don't like what we're going on either. But at the same time, we got to make sure that the people call me about traffic tickets. And I have to deal with that. They may not like what I'm saying, but they got to respect what I'm saying, because you can't, a lot of people run around Homestead trying to get a ticket. I'm sending the guys out there to write tickets, and at the same time I'm telling them, don't write them out, I'll get rid of them, Can't work like that. So I'm just saying, and all we need to do is just let us take care of some of this problem, and then if it comes to the point where it's an issue, are we doing the wrong thing, then we can look at it and deal another way. But from this point on, if you all want to, we can go out there and we can clean the city up.
I think a Kia Drive situation is a recurring, year after year recurring of almost the same people who own the same units over there.
I guess my question is for Crystal or for the attorney. An apartment building that has a big pit out front where people continually drop their stuff. If it's on the apartment building's property, can we cite that owner of the property and make him start paying attention instead of just driving by? I'm not saying drive by.
No, yes, and we do that. We do cite owners to be responsible for the swale abutting their property. And the large property owners, normally they have an area set up by solid waste for their residents to dump. If it is a place that's outside of their regular dump area, whether they have a dumpster or some type of enclosure, normally in the rear or the side of their property, they are cited for that.
Okay, because if you go down over by Kia Drive on Tennessee.
On the side of Deedco is what you're talking about. Deedco has been brought to the special master several times, and a lot of the issues that they have presented, because we cite the occupant as well as the owner for the dumping issues, because the issue that they were having with their particular unit, apartment building or assisted living facility, whatever they are, their residents, whenever they moved out, they would have their maintenance people clean it out and put it on the outside on the swale. They were cited several times for that, along with the tenant that had any identifying characteristics to who they are.
But obviously we don't fine them hard enough or do whatever, because we're not deterring them if they do it over and over.
The thing is, there's a line between what is yours and what is not yours. If it's a couch, if it's landscaping debris, it's very difficult to tie that back to an owner. So sometimes the city is left with bearing the burden of just disposing of the debris, because we cannot find an identifying marker on a mattress. So things like that, with the assistance of some of the camera systems and other tools that we can utilize, yes, that will help progressively as each person. There are people that do come from out of the surrounding city of Homestead, because they know Homestead enjoys such a great pickup schedule as opposed to being in Miami-Dade County, and will drive 3 blocks within the city and dump unidentifiable garbage. And part of that is getting some of the citizens to be aware. In that location in particular, it doesn't really have people that can see that. It's a good hiding place, per se, in plain sight, because the biggest deterrent to people illegally dumping is the abutting property residents themselves. Because if residents have the attitude that you can't dump in front of my house, they're going to call the police when you dump in front of their house. So that could be part of the education process, to have people perhaps be aware. Don't call management office, don't call this, don't call that, call the police when you see someone with a vehicle dumping something in front of your house. And to get people to be aware and also to put in the effort is also part of our issue.
And to the attorney, can we make things where it hurts a landlord that allows this kind of stuff to continue on his property, whether it's his fault or a tenant's fault or whatever? He's out. Most of them have maintenance people there. Let the maintenance people keep an eye on it and be responsible for their property.
Yeah, I think what Crystal was saying is that we are citing the landlords, and
But it doesn't deter them, is my point. We cite them, They come through the process, and 3 months later, they're back out there citing them again for the same thing that's happened 30 times in the middle of the process.
Crystal, does our fee structure elevate for repeated violations, or is it for repeat violations, or is it just per day?
It can, yes. For repeat violators, when you're issued the third citation, it's automatically $500. The first citation is $200 with a maximum of $300. The second citation is structured the same. The third citation is $500. And anything that is that can be found to be proved a recurrent problem and is obviously at the discretion of the special master can be imposed a daily fine of the maximum amount.
Right, so we could, if that's not doing it, we could look at increasing, the recurring fines.
Right.
Make them,
Due to our population now, anything over 50,000 residents, we could possibly increase the fine. I don't know if that's going to be a larger deterrent or not. But after that 50,000 population threshold, we're able to go higher, like how the county cites initially for $500 initially. So if you want people to get that initial violation will be $500. And that's something that everyone here needs to be aware of, is that your initial citation for someone is going to be $500. That's going to be a lot for residents of Homestead.
Can we break the category up into
Some cities
commercial
do.
units versus a residential unit?
yes. Yeah, we could
Some
look
cities
at,
do. City of Miami has a varied fine structure depending on the violation and the reoccurrence of the infraction. There's different. We have some fine structures dependent on the violation that are a little bit less. Other municipalities do that as well.
Kia Drive.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
One thing I can suggest is, I think, we got some direction here tonight, which was very helpful, which is you'd like us to toughen up a little bit. And so that's important direction for us, because over the years, I think they've kind of felt whipsawed, and they're a little unsure about what direction the body wants to go. So what we can do is come back at some point with, are we doing everything we possibly can? Do we have all the regulations, the fines, the fees, whatever else, tools they need to do their jobs? And we can come back to you with that, assuming there's something more that they need. But the direction was helpful, because at least we know that's a key priority for you. And we know now that when the complaints start coming in, you're going to back us. So that's very good.
Providing you got one. Let me ask you, how do those structures with no roof on them, how do we allow them to stay there 20 years?
That property was cited prior for unsafe structure due to the title issues. It has been cited subsequently. There was some variant title issues that have to go through that I know which property you're speaking in reference to. That is the only property remaining on Kia Drive. The other ones that have just the pad, those pads, I mean, we could technically cite that we have a code for the pad itself. I don't know if you would like to go in that direction to cite people with removal of the pad of the prior townhouse.
Well, you got people parking cars on them. It looks like
that could be a possibility, but we also have other parcels in the city unrelated to Kia Drive that we would have to address as well.
Is there
Like
only...
the trailer park over on US 1, that very large trailer park that
Right,
still has
that's
all
true.
those trailer
Yeah.
spots. We would have to cite them to remove every trailer pad as well.
Was there only one house that was there? I thought there was like 2 or 3.
I think there's one left. A couple of years ago, we cited several for the firewall issue on Kia Drive, and they repaired the ones that had firewalls that weren't up to building code. So we just have, as far as I know, we have one left that has a wall in the front and a wall in the, like, half wall.
Yeah.
So,
A couple weeks ago, and I didn't think anybody lived that way in Homestead anymore. I really didn't. It's deplorable. I mean, I was embarrassed, because I just didn't believe nobody would actually live on that street and it looked like that. It's just unbelievable. But I understand, why all things wasn't done, and I can assure you, and the manager just said it very eloquently, that we're going to address these problems in the city from this point on.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. Wallman?
I just, thank you, Mayor. I would just like to say, go, chief, go, because I think that's been a problem in the past for years prior that, people call and complain to the council people on the dais, and then they go before the special master, and then there's always something going on. But I just say go, because if you don't go now, we're going to be lost behind, and especially with the limited number of people that we have. I try not to call Crystal too often, but it's a problem.
And if we need additional tools, see, because this ultimately becomes a result-oriented thing. You'll see change when you see it, and you'll know whether what we're doing is working or not.
Right.
And I know they're going to be trying really hard, but if we don't see any improvement and they need additional tools, then we'll come back to you and with some recommendations. But if they're effective with what they currently have, you'll start seeing the results.
Thank you.
Mr. Shelley? Thank you, sir.
No.
They failed on that second. I thought you were ready to go then. Okay, sure.
I just want to thank Crystal and Captain Graham, because I know it's a thankless job. If you do your job, people are mad at you. If you don't do your job, people are mad at you. So, I don't know how you do it, but thank you for doing what you guys do, because like I said, it's a thankless job. Nobody's happy with you most of the time, so thank you.
Oh, that's not
And
true, huh?
please, well, I'm just saying, no, the people that they encounter most days out on the road, nobody's ever saying thank you and giving them cupcakes, I guarantee you that.
Nor would I eat them.
Yeah, I've gotten some good compliments on the dog catcher.
Yes.
I mean, he seems to be very, very on top of his game, if you will.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody?
Well, of course, so Homestead, no less.
All right, all ready to adjourn? Motion adjourned? Second? All in favor? All right, let's go home. All right. Yeah, so what's